Have you ever wished Minecraft was just cave? Yeah, me neither. I survived 100 days in a cave-only world in Minecraft Hardcore. In this mod, every overworld biome and structure from oceans to villages are buried underground. Watch as I survive 100 days and build the ultimate survival base. Total darkness starts now. Not literally. As I spawned in, it looked like your typical Minecraft world except for one tiny detail. Everything. Luckily, I spawned right next to a jungle biome, so I punched a tree down with my bare hands and managed to gather food in the form of some melon, which would become my primary source of sustenance for the next 100 days. Armed with a wooden pickaxe, I began mining deep slate, which worked the same as stone, but it took way too long to break. There were also a few iron ores, so I crafted a furnace and used my old, but also brand new wooden pickaxe for fuel, which worked a little bit too well. I could have crafted an iron pickaxe to get diamond tools and armor on day one, but nah. I went for a sword and shield because, let's be honest, that would be too insane. As I left the jungle, I found an abandoned mineshaft and took some string from the cobwebs and got taunted with a ton of diamonds and immediate regret. On the bright side, I found a patch of pumpkins, which are actually rarer than diamonds, even more so now that world is cave. After my first taste of blood and bones, I made my way upwards to the smooth stone, where I spent the rest of my first day mining for iron. Like a typical Friday evening, I frolicked around collecting berries and nearly fell to my death. Oh, a mistake that would lead to me finding yet another abandoned mineshaft with some food, a name tag, inner peace and happiness. Oh my god. And a trial chamber that I noted down for later. I set up my base of operations behind a waterfall and smelted my iron and geared up with a full set of tools and armor, after which I was attacked by a small child. Now that I'm fully kitted out, it was time to find a place to call home. On my travels, I managed to kill an enderman for his pearls and even yoinked a handful of diamonds until I found the perfect place to live, that place being an actively burning forest. I scattered some torches around, cleared out some trees, and claimed this little slice of land as my own. After days of living off nothing but melon, I decided to set up a little farm and even replanted some glowberries just in case my food situation became diabolical. Subtle foreshadowing. I spent the rest of the day clearing up burnt down trees and used the first diamond of the 100 days to make a shovel for some terraforming to stop my ankles breaking every time I leave my base. Now, the build I have planned for this world is actually massive. So on day 4, I already started making an oak tree farm to make sure I could fund this business endeavor. Then I used the string I gathered on day 1 to make a bed to sleep through the night. I don't know. I'm in a cave. I replaced my iron sword and axe with a nice set of diamond ones, followed by an unwelcome surprise. Did that just jump on my bed? No more creepers jumping on the bed. I did a bit more clearing up on my land, including unwanted guests who kindly gave me one of my 5 a day. To maximize my profits, I replanted it using bone meal to get a decent amount growing, and even planted some melon seeds. As I thought about the day, I'll finally get the first taste of meat on my lips. After a little exploring, I found a sheep who spawned from the light from the glowberries, so I ran back home and put together a quick prison enclosure and grabbed some wheat to lure him into his forever home. And the same exact thing just happened in the form of 2 pigs. After all the effort of bringing these animals back home, more pigs and sheep decided to spawn in my base. Brilliant. And just like that, I had a fully working farm and a pocket full of pork chops. Oh, and another enderman who kindly gave me their pearl. Day 6 marks a pivotal change in this world as the day meat hit my lips for the first time. And less importantly, I used the dark oak I gathered from the cleanup to make some walls along the edge of my hill in a diagonal design with different heights of each pillar. And to add more depth, I stripped every other log and added some dark oak buttons. Not too bad for a starter base. I began making a path down the hill and realized I had built in a slime chunk, which was pretty cool, but useless to me. So I finished the path by adding some andesite, wooden planks, and mossy cobblestone. Don't ask where I got it from because I honestly have no clue. I finished the day off by sleeping, justified by my very real fear of phantoms. Now that I'd settled with 4 walls and no roof, I decided it was time to upgrade my armor to diamond. So I headed back towards spawn to collect all the diamonds I wasn't able to mine back then. I was fortunate enough to only come across veins of 1 or 2, giving me a grand total of 8 diamonds. To celebrate my lackluster haul, I slaughtered a large family of melons and ate their flesh. Refreshed and ready for more overworked and underpaid labor, I came across the 3rd but far from final abandoned mineshaft of this journey, where I collected even more, you guessed it, gold. Yeah, I really got you there. I also found the first socially acceptable vein of 5 diamonds. Massive. You know what's crazy? And of course, a minecart chest with a name tag and complete garbage. Later on, I came across a single cow, but I got jumped by a bunch of mobs who won't let me have nice things. So if I couldn't have her, no one can. A quick pit stop home to clear my inventory and replace my battered iron pickaxe with a brand new diamond one. I head back out in another direction to get more shiny blue rocks, and that I did. Oh, juicy vein. It was not a juicy vein. Next, I stumbled across the first normal looking cave of this world, or so I thought, until it turned into just pure iron. This was the first time I've seen something like this, but it turns out it's been in the game for over 3 years. I've just been living under a rock, or in a rock, over a rock. cave. I gathered 174 iron, which crazy enough didn't actually last for the remaining 91 days, unless I lost it. I probably lost it. Oh, and there were some diamonds in the cave too, but I'm over that. As I left, I was ruthlessly ambushed by a gang of skeletons and witnessed a turtle trying to unalive himself in lava. Don't ask why he's there. Naturally, I made it my mission to save this turtle for the greater good. And a turtle helmet. The Minecraft gods, however, did not approve of taking Jay Foster into my basement, as I was attacked by literally everything. But I prevailed. Is what I wish I could say. He actually came to a very brutal end, and he most definitely suffered. There's no time for mourning. There's no... Narrowly escaping with my life, I gathered the ingredients for a blast furnace, got a stack of iron cooking, and made myself an anvil. Oh. And of course, a full set of diamond armor that got me feeling splendid. After a short nap, I went to my favorite neighborhood lava pool and mined 24 obsidian. I don't even have... No, why? Just enough for 2 nether portals and an enchanting table. But why 2 nether portals? I have plans you wouldn't understand until day 12. I mined everyone's second favorite block until I got a piece of flint, and now I had everything I needed to become a world-class pyromaniac. Then came the climb towards the bedrock roof, and I discovered I had an entire ocean above my base, which just makes 0 sense saying out loud. Naturally, I got distracted and gathered some sugarcane and terrorized the local salmon population until I got bored. Back on track, I finally hit the bedrock roof, and I had to look around for the highest Y point possible, place some ladders, hurled through and jump, and voila. In this mod, some structures like woodland mansions, shipwrecks, and ocean ruins only spawn up here. So I cranked my render distance to the max and prayed my PC didn't explode, then set off in one direction hunting for good loot. My first find was a shipwreck with a buried treasure map and some books, which will definitely come in handy. And next up was some ocean ruins where I was attacked by drowns who didn't even have the decency to drop a trident. The only loot worth mentioning here was 4 more buried treasure maps, 2 mid-enchanted fishing rods, some emeralds, a gold helmet, a Smite 2 book that I will never use, and most importantly, coal. Yes, coal. I really need coal. At the next ocean ruin, I came to the devastating realization that 4 of my 6 treasure maps were the same. Huh? I felt so scammed, but at least my Hawk 2 crypto is thriving. I raided yet another shipwreck and got myself another duplicate map because the game loves me, and some shiny new armor trims. Then I saw something really important in the distance, a jungle temple. Luckily, it actually broke through the bedrock, meaning I could have a perfect stairway to the overworld. Or underworld? My life's a lie. The temple gave me some wild armor trims and rotten flesh from the exposed chest, and then I used all 3 of my brain cells to figure out the puzzle, but opted for brute force. A saddle. Unfortunately, my perfect stairway down was interrupted by a single block of immeasurable rage, but I continued making the path using questionable methods and near-death experiences. No. No. As if it was fate, a zombie villager was waiting for me in the bamboo forest, so I crafted a boat and trapped him as I figure out how I'm going to get this man 1,000 blocks back home. Today was a win. Not only did I make 1 friend, but 2. The other being a slimy yellow monstrosity. I led the villager up the stairway to heaven and trapped him again for his safety, as I converted this temple to a nether portal and finally made my debut in the Nether. I spawned in the hideous basalt biome, but on the bright side, there was a fortress, which was perfect as our new green friend was about as useful as a glass pickaxe without some blaze rods. I killed a few endermen to earn back the pearl I sacrificed to get here, and then bridged across to the fortress where a piglin kindly reminded me with violence to put on my gold helmet. The only blaze spawner I could find was full of lava that I had to build my way through in the most janky and dangerous way I could think of, and by some miracle and divine intervention, I escaped with 5 blaze rods and, less importantly, my life. That's really dark. I don't know why I said that. Putting my 3 brain cells back to work, I decided to do some piglin trading with a full inventory. I managed to score the one thing I needed, which was some leather, so I rewarded the piglin with the sweet release of death. Moving on, I continued looting the fortress and found myself 1 piece of gold, and of course some nether fungus. I got lost for about 10 minutes, but eventually made my way back, so I went to check on my zombie villager to make sure he didn't despawn, and... well, this makes 0 sense. Luckily, the stairway was still in sight, so I headed over and pulled off the world's first mustard axolotl bucket clutch. Oh my god. Let me have this. Back at the bedrock, unfortunately, my decaying green friend was still alive. Well, undead? You get the point. I put my base coordinates in a website that would tell me where to make a new portal in the nether so it would spawn near my base. So I did just that and ended up right above my base, which I was pretty happy with. All I had to do was break the obsidian, carve out a small cave in the side of my mountain, and rebuild the portal on the correct Y level, and we were in business. To make it look less awful, I threw down some netherrack around the cave. Nothing too fancy, as this is still just a starter base. With the portal all sorted, I started a sugarcane and neverwort farm, and I even built a cozy enclosure for my new axolotl friend and made sure there was no way he could ever escape. I even used one of my precious name tags to call this fine specimen Mustard. If anything ever happens to Mustard, unspeakable crimes would be committed. The following day, I made myself some garrots and combined the 2 fishing rods I found in the ocean ruins, and let me tell you, this did not get used for its intended purpose. Now it was time to prepare to turn my zombie villager into a less rotting one. I grabbed some sand from the nearby desert for some glass bottles and used a blaze rod for a brewing stand. Now, to make a potion of weakness, you need a fermented spiderite, but I completely forgot that you need a brown mushroom. In my last video, I managed to find one in the nether, but this time round, it was a fruitless endeavor. So I moved my fungus hunt to the overworld. It was a long journey with no luck until I ironically found a giant brown mushroom. Oh, wait, if I break that, it can drop it, right? On my way back home, I taunted yet another Enderman who fell to their demise. And finally, I was safe at last. That was fear. That was fear. Business was booming. I made the fermented spiderite, then brewed the splash potions of weakness, made a gapple, and commenced mission 1. As in, that's the name of the mission. Operation Never Escort. Such a thoughtful name for something that took like 2 minutes. I threw a glass bottle at this angry man's head and force-fed him solid gold, and we were good to go. While waiting for the villager to become slightly less decomposed, I made a new diamond axe because mine kind of just disappeared. I then bred some of my prisoner pigs, and it was done. My base was very open, so I did the humane thing and and made him a safe place to stay in a small hole alone with his thoughts and nowhere to run. Feeling generous, I turned him into a Fletcher to exploit him for my own financial gain and traded 13 stacks of sticks for 32 emeralds, so I was ready to do some real trading in the future. On day 19, I decided it was time to make use of my buried treasure maps. According to the mod, buried treasure also spawns above the bedrock, making this an easy task for some free loot. As I got to the first X, I didn't find a chest, but immeasurable disappointment instead. So I decided to take a gamble to see if the chest was buried around the bedrock itself, which would be a cataclysmic waste of time if I was wrong. But fortune favors the bold, or the mildly desperate. I went digging around and there was actually sand, but no sign of a chest anywhere. I was about to give up and go home until I remembered the wise words of Jakay 30. Never back down, never what? Never give up! I had to break it open with my axe and got myself a potion of water breathing, TNT, emeralds, gold, and some iron that I used to replace my non-existent shield. Not bad for a gamble. Now for the second and final map, thanks to the scam that is Ocean Ruins, I crawled through a 1x1 hole, which was probably not my greatest idea, but it was funny to me at least. I made it to the X, and this time I had no difficulty in finding the chest. I bagged myself another water breathing potion, 10 gold, 2 diamonds, and of course cooked salmon so I could retire from my brief vegetarian phase. By the time I finally made it back home, the literal worst mob in the world decided to just exist. I hate phantoms with a deep-seated hatred, and if you need a reason why, you'll see soon enough. That sounds like a threat. It is a threat. After sleeping the night through, I realized that the sky terrors can't die in sunlight because there is no sunlight. I'm in a cave. Luckily, I think they got stuck somewhere, so I resorted to staring into the beautiful emerald eyes of my villager to determine his name. Troy, like High School Musical. It's day 22 and I still don't actually have a house, so it was time to gather resources for my gymongous build. I began by inhaling my tree farm. I don't know how much wood I'm going to need for this, but I'd imagine it's going to be in the billions, perhaps trillions. That being said, we need a lot of space to bring my vision to life, so I spent the rest of today and the next doing just that. Such fun. I built some ladders to get a better view of the area and was quite literally 11 frames or 0.183 seconds away from being unalived. And they say maths isn't interesting. I scouted the area and it still wasn't enough space, so I kept chopping all the way into day 25 and I decided it was time for a breather to expand my tree farm, snagged a cheeky ender pearl, and scattered torches to prevent mobs from touching me. By this point, I finally had enough room to build, but opted to destroy birch trees till my axe broke, not because I needed it, but because it's a visual crime to exist. Just to give you an idea on the scale, here is all the room I had to work with, and yes, it will fill the whole thing. The next day, I made myself a new shield and diamond axe, and I decided I wanted to use different wood types other than just plain old oak for my fortress walls. So I began collecting some dark oak wood and spruce, which were luckily both in the vicinity of my base. I was a bit worried about trying out this new design in case I hated it, but spoiler alert, I'm goated. And finally, I wrapped up the day by replanting some spruce saplings close to home and filled in some holes. So off I went to the nether with the desperate need for copious amounts of netherrack, because it was probably the easiest thing I could use to make an outline for my walls, which is essentially just 5 gymongous circles attached together. Whilst making said outline, my aforementioned 3 brain cells must have turned to 1, as this was the circle in question. Well, this has gone horribly wrong. After fixing my diabolical mistake, I began making the 4 smaller circles around it, this time without any error, and by day 28, the outline was done. For the build itself, I started by placing some spruce slabs for the stairway to the first layer and began placing some dirt until I was swarmed by sky terrors and retreated to the comfort of my soiled bed sheets. After surviving the ambush, I moved my bed closer to my build, and I was yet again attacked by 2 small green children. Back to business, I finished the first layer of dirt and got to work making the walls. Like my starter base, I was placing the logs in a diagonal pattern with different heights of each pillar, but this time alternating between 3 different wood types.
Wow, that took way longer than I thought it would.
And finally, I connected the dirt to the grass so it would eventually spread over, as I didn't keep any grass blocks from the enderman I killed. Now onto the next circle. I ran out of dirt, so I had the ingenious idea to break a layer from underneath, because it wasn't going to be visible anyway. Also, every time we go up a layer, it's going to get a few blocks higher like so, meaning this next set of walls was much higher and much more expensive. And it was only going to get worse. So much worse. So I bone milled the spruce saplings I placed earlier, which refused to grow in this environment, almost as if there was no sunlight. And I began chopping and chopping. You get the idea. Yes, you do. Now, these next few days may fly by, for you at least. For me, it was hours and hours of essentially placing the same 3 blocks again and again until my right mouse button literally broke. So the least you could do is subscribe, right? Please. By day 33, I'd finished placing the already stupidly high walls for tier 2 of the ultimate survival base, and of course filled it in with some dirt. With that done, we move on to part 3, the biggest of the 5 sections where my main base will be. These walls are around 12 blocks high, so I hope that puts it into perspective how much wood we're burning through. The billions and trillions doesn't feel like a joke anymore. On day 35, I took a well-earned break with some more soul-shattering manual labor, where I gathered more dirt, dark oak, and almost lost my life for like the 15th time. Just let me climb. I put some torches down to stop this place from becoming a mob spawner, then continued placing dirt inside the main circle. It wasn't until I was maybe halfway through when I decided to give it some depth and personality rather than being just a boring flat surface. So to save my precious dirt, I spent the rest of the day undoing everything I had done and reconsidered my life choices. The next day, I did another resource run for more spruce logs and was heckled by 3 small children. Chicken Jakay. Today, you will start to see exactly why phantoms are the bane of my existence. Just leave me alone. Every time I unalived one batch, 3 more would come along and absolutely ruin my day.
Oh my god.
Again and again. Until I finally gave up and slept. I wanted to sleep as little as possible because I was genuinely concerned I wouldn't be able to finish my home, explore structures, and slay the Ender Dragon all within 100 days. And phantoms made that very difficult for me. Finally, without interruption, I finished placing all of the dirt and increased the height for some of my log pillars in the places where I increased the height of the dirt. And it was looking beautiful. I did a little progress check on day 40 and things were looking gorgeous. If I had to place another block of wood or dirt today, I was going to peel off my own skin. Just like I did with these poor sheep here. Fortunately, the next layer didn't need any dirt this time around, but some netherrack instead. So I headed to the nether and grabbed myself a few stacks. Now back to work. I made a start on the second most tallest set of walls and proceeded to break my ankles multiple times. I really need feather falling. By day 42, this layer was mostly finished, so I started filling it in with some netherrack all the way into day 43, and just like that, tier number 4 was complete. I finished the day with some more resource gathering, of course, because I was burning through logs like a pyromaniac with a poop fetish, and I began getting to work on the 5th and final circle of my fortress. I promise it will all be worth the wait. This time, we were going for about 18 blocks high, so it's safe to say we don't have to worry about zombies or creepers, just spiders and phantoms and acrophobia. Speaking of phantoms, oh!
I think that might have killed me if I didn't do that.
After a whopping 17 days of building, all of my walls had finally been erected. And that's not even including the structures I have planned for this place. I still needed to fill it in with some dirt, so I made a small quarry and finally hit my breaking point.
Oh my god!
I filled the circle in with dirt for the last time, and once again got attacked by phantoms for what was definitely not the last time. And it was officially done. Oh, that looks so good. Okay, we're done here. Damn, I messed up. We gotta go bald. I'm so happy people voted you into the game. Oh, my axe broke.
I don't even have enough diamonds for a one I keep running past in the spruce. Time I cave in because I'm in a cave and I have been for the last 50 or so days. Cave in and get some more diamonds.
After that brief mental breakdown, I crafted a brand new axe and slept into day 48 where I continued shaving my log. Ew. This time from the inside because it was just so much quicker. I think in total I went through 2 diamond and 2 iron axes, but it was all worth it now that I was finally all naked and looked spectacular.
It looks beautiful. I mean, that's all grass, green grass in the middle as opposed to blue grass. What am I saying?
At last, it was time to do something other than building. Today started with a bit of light homicide as usual, and I took a look at the absolutely diabolical state of my armor.
I should probably get some more diamonds.
I grabbed myself 10 obsidian for a new nether portal in case I found something cool on my travels, and that I did. But before that, I took out another enderman for a grass blog, which was more valuable than a pearl at this point, and I placed it in circle number 3.
It may just be a grass block to you, but this is huge. This is our future. This is the ground my...
And to fuel my grand voyage, I absolutely traumatized what I left of my pigs.
Okay, let's get that cooking good looking. How'd that make you guys feel? Should I use more lingo like this?
Finally, we had made it to big day 50.
Yay.
I picked a direction and just kept walking in search of diamonds, but came across something much more valuable.
Oh, you are beautiful.
After my daily serotonin, I was back on my journey mining diamonds and exploring any and all structures I came across.
Yes, we got a new little boy here. Oh my god. Oh, glow squid. She inking on my sack till I glow squid. Stop.
I had to use my water bucket to climb down a few times, but I made sure every time to keep my little guy safe from all harm like the responsible adult I am not.
The only way I'm seeing is up.
The only way is up was in fact not the only way, but I'm sure glad I did.
Wow, this is a very open, deep dark.
And thus began my search for an ancient city.
I'm gonna try and like edge around it like that way.
Why would you do that? Ooh, diamonds. Against my better judgment and dollar store diamond armor, I decided to head through the deep dark with the game plan of just pray.
Oh my goodness. This was a bad idea. I actually kind of just want to leave. This is insanity.
The insanity? Snow? There's no way. Naturally, I head up to the snowy biome where I discovered the greatest thing since microwave bread.
Oh my god. I'm just gonna bridge it.
Barely know it. That's right, a village, cherry blossom, and an ancient city all in one go. Basically everything I was hoping to find. After arriving at the village, I immediately asserted my dominance by killing all their livestock and locking some villagers in their own homes. There were also some diamonds here, which was pretty useful considering my tools were now in the red. And finally, I finished the day by collecting all the pretty pink flowers and some saplings to create my very own cherry blossom forest in a more civilized society.
You will never see that in Minecraft, will you?
I like to think of day 52 as more of a mental health day. I also made some physical improvements by making myself some fresh diamond armor and tools, completely forgetting that the ancient city is full of high-level enchanted gear. But before I entered my impending doom, I cut the day short to prevent phantoms from spawning, as they could be absolutely diabolical, especially in a place like this. And now I was ready to sneak around, destroying all the warden spawners I could find. In my first few chests, I got some generic loot with some diamond leggings, one with curse of binding and mending, which I reluctantly took. I even possibly maybe definitely set off the warden thing 3 times, but nothing happened. Regardless, I soiled myself and retreated back to the village to relieve my pockets. I dove back in and collected a few more chests where I got myself bones and a flame book. Not bad. I also got jumped by a skeleton with the desire to get us both crushed between the warden's thunder thighs.
Get us both killed, mate.
It's also worth mentioning I gathered enough books to feed a family of 5 or make a level 30 enchantment setup, meaning leather was a problem of the past.
Is that the rarest one? Is that the rarest one?
Oh my god, this chest is goated. Thanks to the exposed diamonds everywhere, I was building my wealth back up faster than Taylor Swift writes a breakup song. My loot also peaked in this moment as I found myself a somehow used diamond hoe and an enchanted gapple. Unfortunately, my greed made me careless and I had the bright idea to start running everywhere. You know it's real fear when you don't even say a word and you just start running.
Oh.
To save storage space, I whacked on my new leggings straight away, which filled me with a bit of confidence that was soon crushed after a little boo-boo. Uh-oh.
Oh, there's another 2.
Oh, it's getting faster. I don't like this. This way, this way, this way. I took this as an opportunity to leave, disguising my fear as a quick break to clear my inventory. Within seconds of re-entering, I spawned the warden for the 3rd time already. Am I really this bad, dude? Yes. Yes, you are. Which brings me to the absolute worst performance of my career, where I proceeded to spawn the warden not once, not twice, not even 3 times in a row, but an astounding 4 times in the space of a few minutes.
No way.
Now, any normal person would have upped and left. However, I thought it would be best if I just do the exact same thing again. Why? Not just the 1 time, though, but 6 more times. I don't even want to script this part anymore. I genuinely don't believe I did that. Oh, make that 7. Yeah, why not? It's not like it's hardcore Minecraft or anything. Fortunately, that brings the deep dark chapter to a close with this last chest where I got a Curse of Binding book. Yay. And the greatest hoe of all time. I could make a joke here, but no. After spending days in the deep dark, I had almost forgotten what the sun feels like on my skin. Get it? I'm making a cave joke, because I'm in a cave. Using the obsidian I gathered before, I built a nether portal with the intention of never returning unless I want to steal people. I dug a direct path back to my home portal where I stashed my loot and had to run back for the rest, listening to the satisfying sounds of consuming 1 billion netherrack blocks. I left a few items over at the village as, to be honest, I couldn't be bothered to do a third run. It was far, okay? And now it was time to make an upgrade to my armor. What am I doing? That's better. After being swarmed by phantoms yet again, I decided it was time to sleep, but they and a few zombies decided otherwise. Finally. Now, after a whopping 58 days, it's time to build our first structure with a ceiling. I began gathering the materials I needed, which was basically just some deep slate and smooth stone, as I still had a ton of wood left over. And of course, I skinned all my sheep, as the first structure we're making is a windmill. Wasting no time, I started building on the tallest of the 5 layers with a stone brick base and some dark oak trims. And of course, some normal oak to keep the wood theme consistent.
Oh my god! Oh, I completely forgot.
The second layer of a windmill was some spruce logs and planks, and the third and final one was of course some more oak. Fun fact, these 3 types of wood are proven to be the best, and if you think otherwise, it's okay, I respect your opinion. And for the roof, I made a generic cone type thing out of dark oak, and it looked pretty okay. On day 60, I came to the devastating realization that I had in fact destroyed the only grass block I had, leaving my windmill in just mud.
Oh, man.
Nonetheless, I took a look at my abominations so far and decided I needed to strip down my logs, which made things look a little bit less depressing. Now for the actual windmill part of the windmill, I don't know what it's called. I of course used the skin of my poor sheep with some spruce fences along each windmill. Honestly, I don't know what you call these things, and quite frankly, I don't want to learn. I gave each fan thing some depth like so, and I think I was happy with it. Definitely not the worst structure that will be placed on my ultimate survival base. My hard work, of course, was rewarded by some phantoms. Yay. So I slept into day 62, where I made myself an enchanting table and some bookshelves to give this structure a bit of purpose. I placed down the bookshelves in the tallest part of the windmill, allowing me to finally enchant my gear, only 62 days into my playthrough. It's a miracle I've lasted this long. Using my limited supply of diamonds, I made myself a pickaxe and a new chest plate and wasted no time in getting myself some protection 4 on my chest and booties. I also got a few decent enchants in books like efficiency 4 and feather falling 2. As I had a lot of wool left over, I decided to make it all into beds. 3 guesses as to what we're doing next. That's right, more enchanting. I am incapable of making logical decisions.
Can I? Oh my god.
Back on track. You know the drill, people.
Oh, why is it glowing like that? Perfect. And that is an ingot.
That makes 2.
I don't really know. Oh my god. I'm sorry, I just really wasn't expecting anything to be down there. That genuinely just scared the life out of me. I dropped my pickaxe and everything. Oh my god, that is so embarrassing. No way. Let me use my beds. Oh, good heavens. Oh, there's a god.
After running out of beds, I decided to use my new efficiency 4 pickaxe to clear out a huge area in one last attempt to find enough netherite for another ingot. And it was actually mildly successful, although my new pickaxe was now merely a shadow of its former glory.
Narrowly escaping the hog. Oh.
When I got home, I melted down my haul of 14 ancient debris, and of course, I had a ton of gold I mined with silk touch, which actually turns into an ingot when smelted.
That's broken.
I also used some of the ores I gathered to scatter around the nether section of my new base to give it a little bit more personality. I made myself a smithing table and 3 netherite ingots, but unfortunately, I had not played Minecraft for a hot minute and had no idea that you now need a netherite smithing template to upgrade your gear. And of course, the only place to get these is in a bastion.
How long has that been a thing?
Fortunately, I had an idea to get 2 birds with 1 stone, so I crafted a lectern and renamed a name tag Beelzebub.
Can I do that?
If you hadn't guessed, I was going to force an unfortunate soul at the village to give me mending books. So I head all the way to the connecting nether portal and...
I left all the emeralds.
Now we were ready to... No. I began exploring around the ancient city nether portal for a bastion and actually managed to find one in some sort of nether ravine.
No shot.
And remember I said my fishing rod never got used for its intended purpose? Yeah, this is the only time I ever use it. Piglin brutes do not care for my gold armor, causing me to start edging my way inside. In my first chest, I got a mending diamond pickaxe, which was pretty cool. And from this point on, my why can't I say the word strategy? I just did it. My strategy turned to just running around aimlessly, blocking myself into corners. Thrilling gameplay. After a couple more chests, I managed to get the template and even a cheeky netherite scrap. I think it's like a 10% chance of spawning per chest, so I was pretty thrilled. I took my leave and followed my trail of torches back to the portal and began the mandatory villager terrorization. Thankfully, it only took a few attempts at breaking and replacing the lectern for Beelzebub to give me mending, which was unfortunately not the case in my last video. Unbelievably, after already making 2 trips back home, I forgot to bring books. Luckily, I had some leather left over in the chest I was using a few days ago, meaning I just needed to find some sugarcane.
Sugarcane. Perfect.
I wanted at least 2 mending books, but I was 4 emeralds short, so I terrorized yet another villager into becoming a Fletcher, and voila. 2 mending books, a netherite template. Life is good. Before heading home, I mined a patch of diorite as I plan to use it for part of my main base, despite how hideous it is. Oh, and I also got distracted again as I saw a few more diamonds around the deep dark that I mined with silk touch as I was going to try and get myself fortune free. And before I left, I unalived a couple of endermen for some more pearls.
Spreads. Oh yeah, it does. Sorry, no.
In good JK fashion, I carelessly spawned the warden yet again. Now, I could have put the warden in a rear naked chokehold pretty easily, but it wouldn't have been a fair matchup for the warden.
Why, dude?
I remember your sacrifice. Absolutely nothing. When I got back, I tried to get fortune on my other pickaxe, but had no luck, so I just mined the silk touch diamonds so I could get netherite right then and there. I had 3 netherite ingots, so I headed out to quickly get 2 more diamonds so that I could duplicate my netherite template 3 times. God, I hate this update. The only diamonds I could find were underwater, so I used some iron doors to give me a pocket of air. And just like that, we had 4 netherite templates. The diamonds put me back up to level 31, so I wasted a level on a book, and look what the game decided to give me.
Oh, now you give it to me.
Oh my god, that's insane. I merged my Curse of Binding and Mending leggings together for a huge 21 levels and turned them into netherite with a nice snout diamond trim and super glued them onto my body. I put Mending on my chest piece and turned that to netherite as well, this time with a ward trim. And I was going to use the last one on my pickaxe, but unfortunately I didn't have enough levels right now and I absolutely refused to build a mob grinder 70 days in. That's right, day 70 and I still haven't built my house. That reality check led me to the spruce to gather some supplies where I found myself a zombie villager who needed saving.
It has to be one type of word. That's gross. I just killed him. What am I doing? What's wrong with you? What am I doing?
Not my finest work. As if it was fate, after collecting 4 stacks of spruce logs, another zombie villager appeared. This time, I actually trapped him in a boat while I fought off no end of mobs. When I got him moving, things just went 10 times worse.
This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. You're coming with me now. This is ridiculous. What is, like, genuinely, what is going on?
This is the exact reason I built these walls 20 blocks high. Eventually, I did manage to get this bad boy up to the windmill so I could soon make him less green. On my way out to get some sand for glass panes and bottles, I met another wretched soul who needed to be touched by my healing hands. And because I was about to have 2 new friends, I needed to baby-proof this windmill by adding these glass panes and actually making a door. I even gave them the VIP treatment with a lovely balcony, a cut above what we gave poor old Troy. That being said, I changed the oak door to an iron one as I didn't want to give our new villagers the illusion of free will. I still had a potion of weakness left over, so I threw it over their heads and fed them both gapple. And while I waited for them to marinate, I started planting cherry saplings in a portion outside my base to create a whimsical forest for the sole reason that it would look pretty cool in the thumbnail. I have no shame. Some of you smart fellas may have realized what's going to happen if I put 2 healing zombie villagers in a room together. I am in fact a fart smeller.
Oh! If one of them turns first, they're just going to kill each other. Oh my god, we got to separate them. Thank God I did that in time.
But I did realize that one of them would in fact tear the other one to pieces just in time.
Are you even turning? Maybe I accidentally fed one of them 2 apples. What do you look like? You're a pirate. Only real will understand this. Roger.
On day 73, I went up to the surface. Kidding, there is no surface. I'm in a cave to grab some smooth and cobblestone. I also spent most of the day looking for some andesite too for some more variety in my stone builds, but every patch I found was holding back 600 metric tons of water, so I quickly put that idea to rest.
I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. That's just ridiculous.
Also, now that I was slightly less poor, I was able to put mending on my pickaxe and of course upgraded it to netherite, which looking back was probably not the best thing I could have put it on, but here we are. The next day, I lit up my cherry blossom forest with some lanterns and of course had to do the mandatory progress check from my serious health and safety risk pillar.
Day 74, and I don't have a house, but I've got a beautiful cherry farm.
But now it was the moment you've all been waiting for. More so me, but it was time to build 4 walls and a roof. Why'd you appear at like every pivotal moment?
I have to sleep. I don't want to sleep.
Now it was time for the moment you've all been waiting for. I started building the base of my house out of stone, cobble, and bricks with some stripped spruce logs on the corners. And after filling it all in with the freestone combo, not to be confused with my devastating wrestling finisher, I got to work on the trims of the roof using spruce planks and filled it in with a variation of polished deep slate and deep slate bricks, which look really good.
I like it. I'm gonna do some like smoothering out. Yeah, smoothering out. This tastes different. You put something different.
What I meant was I was going to place some slabs to make this roof look more appealing like so, and I even replaced some blocks with deep slate stairs to add in a good bit of depth. Some more building later and a bit of light, I did yet another progress check from the tower that nearly took my life.
I really like it.
I also had a brainwave and decided to build my walls out of white wool instead, as I originally was going to use diorite for reasons I don't quite know. It's so bad. To match the walls, I of course had to add another type of wood, so I opted for some dark oak fences in this little shed area on the side, and I was a huge fan. God, I wish I was. It is so hot in here.
I'm not a fan of those though.
Once again, I forgot I was standing on just one layer of dirt and broke my ankles whilst trying to make my prison area more miserable. And no prison would be complete without some iron bars to show the villagers what I've taken from them. I got started on the wool walls, and boy was I glad I chose that instead of diorite. It's just so ugly, I couldn't do it. This has been a pretty lengthy build to say the least, and it probably doesn't help that I kept going back to make changes here and there, but now all that was left was to add some detail to the interior, and more importantly, the part that would be shown in the thumbnail. No shame. I covered this baby in almost a stack of trapdoors and some signs and leaves, and by day 82, it was done. Finally, I had a house, even though it did take way longer than I was comfortable with, because I have so much left I need to do. I started to move all my important belongings to my new home, and of course, how could I forget Mustard?
Where is he? Mustard? What I want to do is your mum.
The trial chamber I found on like day 2. I did not forget. I crawled through this tiny gap between an abandoned mineshaft and the trial chamber, where I found myself a gapple which would come in handy through the perilous trials ahead. As you can see, this was my first trial chamber and I had no idea what I was doing. But I figured out fairly quickly that after killing mobs, keys would spawn and I could use them on these lock boxes to get some good loot, like this ominous bottle that would give me bad omen to start a raid.
I think we're a bit past doing a raid considering we're on day 82. But that's really cool.
I was lucky enough to get a trial chamber with strays hitting me with slowness arrows, which was slightly infuriating.
This has got to actually be like the worst possible trial chamber, right?
And I also figured out that you could break open these vases to get some iron, emeralds, and even diamonds.
Oh my god, it's like Zelda.
And if the strays weren't bad enough, there were also baby zombie spawners.
This is actually the worst. I ain't even talking German sausage, because in if you know, you know. I will go down the ominous ladder. Oh, I meant to die here. My bad. I can fall and die if you want.
In one of the chests, I even found myself a feather falling 4 book, which is essential for living in a 20+ block high fortress. Moving on, I found myself in the last room full of breezes and strays to grab some more keys and loot. And I did a bit of research on how to get the new mace.
Hey Siri, how do I get a heavy core in Minecraft? Oh guys, to get the heavy core in Minecraft, you can use the command /give player heavy core 1. Awesome. Why didn't I think of that?
And just like that, I think I was all done here. The feather falling book made it all worth it.
That was really good. I really enjoyed that.
When I got home, I put feather falling 4 on my nearly broken boots and did some Troy trading to give me an insane amount of emeralds and became Australian on my way to the village.
Always, you're there all the time, all the bloody time.
And now I had another 2 mending books. Also, while I was in the area, I gathered a mysterious block to use for one of the circles. Well, it's clearly snow. There's not many other white blocks out there, is there? On my way back home, I gathered some gold from the nether with silk touch to make some gapples and some quartz for some XP.
I'm getting no XP, aren't I? Because it's going into the pickaxe.
And this actually gave me the idea to use silk touch on the ore to break it when I have mending on my boots so I could repair them more efficiently. I also came across some more endermen for some pearls, because although the chance is slim, there could be 0 Eye of Enders in the portal. Subtle foreshadowing. So, like I said, I put mending on my booties and made them somewhat healthy again.
Yeah, that will last.
I then spent what few levels I had on some mid-enchantments.
I think we're going to do it and hope we get more on it. No. Okay.
Oh, and I nearly forgot about the Sharpness 5 book I found in the Deep Dark. Finally, I put my last mending book on my new horrible diamond helmet and power 3 on my bow.
We're going to make some fireworks. which I don't know how to make. Oh, okay.
With 10 Eye of Enders, it could be enough, but to play it safe, I head back to the Nether to get some more blaze rods and ender pearls, putting me up to 13, but I could make more if I needed. Oh, and a few potions of slow falling just in case. So now it was time to find the stronghold. I climbed up to the top of my windmill and shot my first eye, which of course broke, but at least I had the direction to head in. And I quickly realized how difficult it was going to be to navigate the terrain in this cave world. After throwing an Eye of Ender every few hundred blocks, it led me to this lush cave where, oddly enough, I had to mine upwards into the stronghold.
Look at that. Legitimately one. Exactly like I said.
And because I had 10 eyes left, I was pretty glad I bought more pearls and blaze rods with me.
Should have seen better days. We ain't got no wood. Let's do it. Dear God, I hope it's not a cave. Oh, thank goodness.
Now all the crystals were gone, it was time to finish this and get back to work on my fortress.
Just for that, you're getting clipped on, buddy. You're getting clipped on. Oh, yes. Oh, well, you're ruining it, aren't you?
It was done without even having to touch a gapple. And thanks to the XP, I can now get full protection on my armor.
Yay.
I yoinked myself the dragon egg and head over to the end islands and cranked my render distance to the max and began my search for a city, which was short-lived. I couldn't wait to see what amazing loot I'd get from this On the bright side, this city had an end ship, so all I had to do is grab the elytra and
Wait, the elytra was cut off. How's that even happened?
Of course, this happens to me when I only have 12 days left to finish everything. But I needed this elytra, so all I could do was just pick a new direction and start looking for a new one.
It's literally just one pillar. Are you gonna have a ship, or are you gonna just be immeasurable disappointment also?
Immeasurable disappointment it was.
I don't even want to loot these ones. I'm not in the mood. Oh, wait, are you intact? I can see the dragon's head on the front. You'd think that'd be the bare minimum.
It took 4 end cities, but finally I'd gotten myself an elytra and a really good new diamond helmet.
Oh, yes.
Originally, I wanted to rebuild an entire end ship in the overworld above my fortress, so I began breaking it down until I realized that there's just not enough time left. So without further ado, I took my first flight.
And now we can go find a way home.
I pearled back through a portal and flew back into the overworld.
It was all a dream.
As you can see, I had a ton of levels to spend, so I focused on getting myself an Unbreaking free book, and then merged my sword with the one I found in the end with Unbreaking and Mending. I put Unbreaking on my elytra and merged my helmets for a whopping 19 levels. We may be coming to an end, but I like the peace of mind of having Mending. Now that the violence was over, it was back to building time. I cut my nether section in half and started filling in one side with some end stone, because it was a bit mental having the second largest circle dedicated to just the nether. I even built some sort of end city ruin.
Oh, well, God. Oh, back to square zero. Oh, God.
And I gotta say, I was quite proud of how it turned out.
I've cooked.
And now for the nether side, I head over there to grab an assortment of blocks to create a similar aesthetic. I tried making a small nether fortress like so and ended up with this design.
Yeah, me laggy.
But of course, it wouldn't be done without moving over my nether portal. Woo! So we had a windmill, a nether/end section, and of course my main base, leaving just 2 more sections to go. So I spent the rest of the day gathering the remaining supplies that I need to make a start on level 2. If it wasn't clear from the fact that I'm building giant mushrooms in here, I'm turning this section into a whimsical dark forest.
No, legitimately give me 5 minutes undisturbed.
I even moved around some of the walls and the stairway to make sure it was perfect and made a simple water feature. This was a pretty simple build, I can't lie, but honestly, it might be one of my favorite sections just because of that reason. And I'm a sucker for trees. Now, the last few things I needed to complete the ultimate survival base was just some spruce and their leaves. And I had an idea to use some podzol that I had to break with my silk touch pickaxe, which took painfully long. But the main item I needed was of course this slimy little fella, axolotl number 3. At this point, I just shouldn't be allowed to keep animals in this game. Finally, of course, I needed coarse dirt. Of course dirt? Get it? It's funny. So I grabbed a bit of gravel by choice for a change.
Maybe he will like the water. Maybe he will stay. Maybe he will do what mustard did and just disapparate into nothingness.
I put a few lanterns around the forest to make it all cozy, and then made a start on the 5th and final circle, which is going to be a man-made snow biome, as it wasn't a very common one you would find in this cave, or any cave for that matter. I scattered in some patches of ice and planted a few spruce trees, as well as some spruce bushes with some slabs, which I thought looked really nice, and a few lanterns as the cherry on top.
Now I think we need to work on the paths. How am I going to do a path on the snow?
Oh! I flew over to my old base to grab some pumpkins to have some little snow snow golems spread themselves. Why say it like that?
Oh my god. I just got ganked.
I made 2 golems, but forgot to block them in.
Defend me. What an absolute king. I mean, it's really annoying that he's done that. We cannot have... No. Oh, they just can't come through here. Stop. Just stay where you're happy and give me snow.
While they were working, I should have thought it through a little bit more as they kept going over exactly where I wanted to build the path. I did the same for the forest section with some paths, coarse dirt, and podzol, and then the exact same for my main circle, and it fit in really well. Now, I couldn't do the same thing for my nether and end section as, well, it just wouldn't look good. So I opted for some nether brick and crimson planks for the nether, and some stone bricks and purple blocks for the end. I had no idea that's what that block was called until today. And to make the whole thing look more natural, I scattered some bone meal around my house and melted down my snow golems now that they had outlived their usefulness. Now I could clear out a path outline in the snow to add a nice bit of depth. For the most part, everything was done, but I made a few improvements like some vines along the inside of the walls and crafted a copious amount of lanterns because torches are boring. The inside of my base was done, but the outside was still just way too plain. I grabbed some more oak leaves and some more vines and began placing lanterns on slabs, all whilst being knocked off of my pillars by phantoms. The lighting made it pop so much more, and I started placing vines underneath them to make sure no mobs could climb up all the way. And finally, I placed a string of leaves wrapping around the walls and forgot I collected a tropical fish, so of course I rehomed him to my new pond.
Give you a friend. I never named this guy. What? Oh yeah, they eat.
We will not speak of this again. I continued wrapping the leaves around the place all the way into day 98.
Bullying. It's bullying.
Placing more vines underneath the leaves too. And not only did the leaves look good, but they also solved the issue of any spiders climbing up and ruining my day. Once the foliage was complete, I still had some time to kill, albeit we were on day 99. So I started placing some spruce slabs on top of some of the pillars to add even more detail.
Like a parkour god right now. Or whatever Tame Impala said. We're going to try and do as many last minute finishing touches as we can.
Also, off topic, damn, I wish I got this elytra sooner. It made traversing this world so much easier. I built a quick animal pen in front of my main house as I realized my base could not be complete until I moved over my livestock from my old base.
Now, come on, my pretties.
And I even picked up some unwanted guests along the way.
Unfortunately, due to rising cost of living, you're going to have to reside in the same enclosure. No one gets left behind, guys. I'm not a monster.
I'm a villain, not a monster.
I put my boy Troy in a boat and slowly but surely made my way home. And of course, he knew exactly where to go.
You're on the right Y level. What are you doing? Move!
It's almost like the poor guy knew he was going to be relocated to the dark, sweaty armpit of my house.
You're forever home, Troy. You know this is all you deserve. You know what you did.
To bring this all to a close, I made the important decision to put gold armor trims on my helmet and boots to look dripped out for the thumbnail. We may have missed out on full netherite because most of my time was spent building, but I've never built anything this insane before, especially in hardcore, so I'm very satisfied. And I'm just so happy I never have to see a phantom ever again.